Vladimir Davidovich, mój drug. We talk on the eve of your 70th birthday and the recognition and celebration by Decca of what really is one of the most remarkable achievements in the history of audio recording. And they plan to do this by releasing a 7-disc boxed set of your recordings. Whose idea was this?
They wanted to.
What was your first reaction?
I thought, why not? If that's how we try to sell good music, obviously if they want to mark my date and they want to sell some more records, maybe some people will be interested, maybe not, but at least try, you know.
Your introductory note says that you've tried to choose pieces that have special meaning for you. Now, I'm sure most of your audience would like to know what is the reason for every single one. But there are too many. It'll take us all day. But give us the main ones. What are the things that are brightest in your memory, and why did you choose them?
Well, I'll never forget some of the first time that I heard a certain piece of music. I even remember the circumstances. It's quite unbelievable. I remember the circumstances in which I first heard Don Juan by Richard Strauss. Basically, after the war and during Stalin's dictatorship and everything, of course, the emphasis was on Russian and Soviet music. Of course, Beethoven and Mozart were played, and Brahms and so on, but Mahler almost not at all. Richard Strauss, not until I can't remember, some foreign conductor was invited to conduct. Probably he was connected to the Communist Party or something like that, but he decided to conduct some Richard Strauss and some other composers too. But they couldn't say no. If a foreigner and on top of that probably a communist comes, they say, okay, as an exception. And he conducted Don Juan. I couldn't come to the concert for some reason. I can't remember why. I was 13 or 14. I don't know why. But some friend of mine gave me the tape of that performance. And I said, what is that? Richard Strauss, Don Juan, what's that? I had no idea about Richard Strauss because it was almost not played at that time. Plus, he collaborated with the Nazis a little bit, as we all know. Not willingly, but he had to do it. Anyway, his name was not on the priority list by the Soviets, obviously. And I didn't know the name, basically, or vaguely. And somebody brought the tape to my little room where I lived with my parents, put it on a magnetophone, a tape recorder, and I listened to it, and I was absolutely overwhelmed. I was, what is the word?
Overwhelmed is a good
overwhelmed,
word.
Yes. There's another one, cheaper word. Floored. That's it, floored. I thought it was the most unbelievable thing I ever heard, you know. How could I not include it in this set? It's like a milestone. I'm not surprised that when I later read the biography of Richard Strauss, that was his first big success. That made him what he was, what he became, whatever it is, for whatever reason. I'll make some comments about other pieces, and you choose what you like. Romeo and Juliet, the same. A friend of mine comes one day and said, have you heard Tchaikovsky Romeo and Juliet? I said, no, I know Italian Capriccio, I know the symphonies, fourth and fifth, or Romeo and Juliet. What's that? He said, I think he said it will be on the radio tonight, conducted by Stokowski for some reason, because Russians sometimes had some programs of foreign conductors. Why don't you listen to that? So I listened to that in the kitchen of my apartment with that friend who said we must listen to it on terrible radio, terrible reception, and I'll never forget it. That was my first Romeo and Juliet. And of course, as we all know, it's in my opinion, it's probably the masterpiece of Chekhov. In the sense of that type of music, it's absolutely, I don't know what perfect is, but you can't take anything out of it. It's just right from beginning to the end. And the tunes, of course, and everything.
It's interesting that here we're talking about a boxed set of your recordings made by you. And I ask you, what are these special reasons why you've chosen these pieces? And in all cases, they're not because you are admiring your own recordings, but because of your association with music.
Yeah,
That is very typical.
Well, that's
Vladimir Ashkenazy.
These two pieces. What else is there? Sibelius too. Well, when my wife-to-be, Dodi, came to study in Moscow, in the famous Moscow Conservatory, with the same professor as I studied with, Mr. Oborin, she brought with her some tapes, not many, and she brought Sibelius too with her. And she said it's the most wonderful piece and wonderful performance, and I must listen to it. I did. By then, I had all the Sibelius symphonies on LPs in my collection because I had been abroad, and I bought quite a few LPs. But I brought from the West lots and lots of records. Not only Richard Strauss, obviously, who became my hero, but many other composers' music that you could not get in the Soviet Union at all.